It's Carnage. I wanted to dive into some photography topics, so I think getting started is a good place to start. What I mean by that is, how do you, as a photographer, decide what you're going to shoot today? A new figure is always a good reason to shoot. I think many of us generate our ideas based on releases, and that makes a lot of sense, and certainly drives that FOMO for our corporate masters at Hasbro. So I guess that's a good place to start, because sometimes I may want to go for the opposite idea and shoot a figure that I've had for a long time. But again, how do we decide what we're going to do? Is it inspiration? You just are messing around with the figure and have an idea? Or is it driven by the cartoon, or maybe by the comic and scenes that you want to recreate? I feel like a lot of times I have a very vague idea of what I want to do, and I may grab one figure. I may have a few figures in mind. I may have a troop building scenario in mind. But I think a lot of us have other things going on in our lives, and we may not have as much time to dedicate to our hobby as we'd like. So, when we got an extra hour or two to shoot, sometimes it's just hard to find the topic, the subject. And sometimes you have an idea that just does not pan out. I feel like I am developing a pattern of getting close shots. And even when I'm planning to do a big wide shot with a lot of people, a lot of figures in it, multiple figures, it may end up turning into a close-up shot of one guy, and it brings me to, just talking about dioramas and the actual real estate that we're using on those dioramas. I feel like in a lot of photographs that I take personally, I may only end up using like 10 or 25% of the diorama, or sometimes even less. So I'm just curious what you photographers of all levels, what you use to generate your ideas and how you get started with a shoot. Quite often, the idea that I have in my head is not what I end up with. It could be very far from what I end up with. I feel like some of my better photos were shots that didn't work out. Whatever it was that I had in mind failed, but something else worked out. So I'm just curious what the thought process is for a lot of you. And one interesting thing that I've challenged myself with is looking at the classified figures that I seem to avoid shooting. And there are plenty. I mean, the line has really expanded in these 4 years. So it's easy to realize, I've been forgetting about Barbecue. He's one that I feel like I have a tough time coming up with ideas for him. So I'll challenge myself to shoot figures that I don't use often. Of course, if you're not a completist, that may not be an option for you. But that is something that I have challenged myself with, to shoot with the figures that I don't seem to like very much. And I think that's an interesting one. All right, well, I won't prattle on too much longer. I just wanted to dive in with a photography topic and see where it goes. I would love any comments, any criticisms, feedback. How do you get started? Please consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.